Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you so much. Good morning and thank you, comrades. Thank you for the great honor to lead the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States. I'm truly humbled by your trust. I pledge to do my absolute best to continue bringing our great organization into the 21st century. Being elected Commander-in-Chief is a dream come true for me. And it's a direct result of the great support I have received over the years from family, from friends, and certainly from my mentors in the VFW. First off, I want to thank past Commander-in-Chiefs Richard Eubank, Richard Neuer, and John Hamilton for letting us slide in there what seemed like a Marines-only party for a while. I also want to publicly thank another Marine, past Commander-in-Chief Alan Gunner Kent, who steps down after 8 years of faithful service, dedication as our Adjutant General. We're certainly going to miss his smiling face up here. But I know that his voice will continue to be heard loud and clear. Let me congratulate John Stroud from the great state of Nevada for moving up the ladder as Senior Vice Commander-in-Chief, and welcome aboard Big John Bajetsky from Pennsylvania as your new Junior Vice Commander-in-Chief, as well as Dave Havley as my Chief of Staff and Terry Vance as the Inspector General. I can tell you now they have vast amounts of knowledge and are certainly an asset to this organization. Let me send my warmest regards to the centennial congratulations to the new Ladies Auxiliary President, Sissy Burrell from Louisiana, and to all of our officers for what you and your organization do daily for veterans, the troops, and their families. There is no question, we are a better organization because of our Ladies Auxiliary. To past Commander Jim Mueller, I want to thank you for installing me into office. And past Commander-in-Chief Art Fellock, who's been a mentor of mine for many years, probably the leading cause of why I'm standing before you today. And to Commander-in-Chief Ed Baines for accepting the nomination duties. We appreciate that. And a special thank you to all of you all for your leadership, your guidance that you continue to bring to our great organization. To Indiana State Commander Greg Baker, I want to thank you for your kind words on the second of this nomination. Let me say to the Big Ten Conference, the Department of Indiana, District 8, my home post right on the other side of the river, Post 3281, thank you for your years of friendship and your support. To three mentors of my mentors who are no longer with us, former Indiana Department Commander Dave Cole, 3281 Commander West, 8th District Commander Joe Yost, I want to thank you. I will never forget you. I know right now, they're right up there looking down, trying to wonder what Billy's got himself into now. To my family down in the front row, to my daughters Denise, Melissa and Tanya, and to my son John, son-in-laws Tim and Joe, and Ryan, Tanya's soulmate, to the grandchildren, Kara, Joy, Marissa, Ridge, and my oldest grandson, Jonathan, couldn't get off work. I remember those days. And to our newest addition, right down there, just a little over a year old, and she already knows she's got Grandpa wrapped around her little finger, Claire. To Donna Williams Hahn, who we served as president together. And we also served on the council together. I couldn't talk her into going up any higher. But it's always good to see you. And Charlie, I'm glad to see you here, Charlie. Thanks so much. And to Donna here. Donna is a neighbor of mine. Just what a great neighbor. I want to thank you so much for being here. And to the National Commander of the American Legion, Jim Counts. My sincere appreciation to all of you for making this great day even better. And last but certainly not least, to my wife, Linda, I want to thank you. I want to thank you most for your strength, your compassion, your love, and especially your patience. Just one more year, and I promise that I'll cut the grass and I'll fix the stuff that's broke at home. I promise. Comrades, I'm using this opportunity to preach to the choir about who we are as the nation's oldest and largest veterans organization. It's my hope that you take the message to those that are not here or maybe don't understand our mission. I want to reinforce everything that's right about the veterans of foreign wars of the United States. And for you and those watching on the internet via live stream, to spread the word far and wide about the VFW. The VFW is open for business. We were founded in 1899 by returning soldiers, sailors, and Marines from the Spanish-American War and later the Philippine insurrection. These wars represented the first time that America would deploy large numbers of troops to fight on foreign soil. You know, our founders returned home to a government that provided no health care, rehabilitation programs for their service-connected wounds, injuries, or illnesses. So these veterans band together to create an organization to change the way the nation treats those that she sends to war. Sorry, I just had a Rubio moment. And 114 years later, our fight still continues. After the Spanish-American War, when the troops came home, Teddy Roosevelt gave a farewell address to his Rough Riders. Now, let me quote part of that address. It's very important. He said, "The world will be kind to you for 10 days. Everything you do will be all right. After that, you will be judged by a stricter code. If you should prove worthless, then you will have been considered spoiled by war." How right he turned out to be. A private was given 2 months' pay at $15.60 a month and the clothes on their back, and that was it. That's what they sent them back to. Can you imagine how tough it was for our forefathers to get our VFW started? Troops coming home from the Spanish-American War. Many were sick, poor, living on the streets, and quite frankly, begging for food. And that's exactly why there's a Veterans of Foreign Wars in the United States today, to make sure that never happens again. To the VFW, a nation that creates veterans has a sacred obligation to care for those veterans when they return home. And the Veterans of Foreign Wars intends to ensure that America's obligation will be kept. Using that as our guiding principle, the VFW grew to be the most respected and powerful veterans' voice inside the White House and Congress as we advocate on behalf of the interest of 22 million veterans, more than 2 million active duty military, Guard, and Reserve members, and all of their families, of course. This we successfully accomplish in an environment where you have 30,000 registered lobbyists in Washington, D.C., who represents 20,000 individual clients whose primary interest certainly differs from ours. You hear us talk often about our legislative record of successes to create, protect, and enhance virtually every quality of life programs provided by the Department of Defense and of Veterans Affairs. It was the VFW that got the president to make the Star-Spangled Banner our national anthem. It was the VFW that led the Bonus Army, helped to create the Department of Veterans Affairs, and all the other military and VA quality of life programs that range from improved health care and benefits to disability compensation, military pay raises, new GI Bill, traumatic injury insurance, hazardous substance exposure, family and caregiver support, and better care services for our women veterans. What we do now on Capitol Hill is one of the many things that's right about the Veterans of Foreign Wars in the United States. Comrades, and that message must be reinforced in every member and told to every prospective member. That's my VFW. That's the one I want to belong to. Let me say, we have too many military personnel and veterans who believe that it's the Pentagon or it's Congress that's responsible for their military and disability pay increases and other quality of life issues. We have to tell our story. You tell them that every new program, pay, or benefit that they now enjoy is due to the lobbying we do to create them. And the VFW National Organization certainly didn't do it alone. Of a tremendous assistance are our sister organizations as well as the grassroots communities. Support provided by tens of thousands of VFW Action Corps members who most recently forced the military services to reinstate tuition assistance programs. Your voice also got the proposed Distinguished Warfare Medal eliminated, and I hope your united voice will soon force the Pentagon into keeping the existing military retirement system intact, to stop pushing a measly 1% pay increase, and to stop using the military retiree health care premiums to balance the Pentagon's budget problems. Trust me, comrades, when I tell you the power of one single voting constituent has when they contact their congressmen and their senators on VFW business. Just ask any National Legislative Committee member here. The politicians know almost 4,500 VFW and auxiliary members reside in every congressional district, Plus, they know we vote at a higher percentage than the general population. That is the influence and the respect we cannot take for granted. The VFW Washington office also trains and oversees our nationwide network of more than 1,200 VA-accredited service representatives who last year helped 125,000 veterans to recoup an organizational record of $3.7 billion, that's with a B, billion dollars in compensation and pension from the federal government. Plus, our win rate at the Board of Veterans Appeals is the highest of all major VSOs, and it exceeds lawyer-assisted appeals. And we also expanded our service work to more than 18 of the nation's largest military installations and regions through a Defense Department program that authorizes our service officers to directly assist transitioning military members with their VA paperwork before they're separated or retired. Plus, we expanded this claims assistance through the Marine Corps Wounded Warrior Regiment to assist previously discharged, wounded, and ill Marines in their VA claims and their appeals. That's the VFW I want to belong to, and I hope that's the VFW that you want to belong to. And just this year, we've expanded it again through the Student Veterans of America to assist student veterans with the GI Bill claims and other VA claims on more than 800 college campuses and universities across this great country of ours, to include 12 campuses right here in Kentucky and 24 across the river in my home state. Speaking of the SVA, as many of you probably know, that the VFW signed a memorandum of understanding with the SVA earlier this year at their conference. It's already paid dividends. In New York, for example, Post 2940 in West Seneca, one of the largest posts in New York, the youngest member, 72 years old, and he was really having trouble filling key positions. Several Damien College SVA members was at that conference that we attended, and when they came back on their return after hearing what the VFW does, they became involved with 2940. Thanks to the assistance from the Department of New York and Comrade Marlene Roll, over 20 joined the post, and several took post offices. Marlene also held an officers training program. It's important that we get them involved. The One Student Veteran program, you'll hear about it, you probably heard about it already. It basically helps our student veterans navigate the mounds of red tape involved in securing a student loan or other educational benefits. Many thanks to past Commander-in-Chief Jim Nyer Director of Programs, Dan Parker, and Deputy Director of National Legislative Services, Ryan Galucci, for their work on this important SVA issue. You know, I joined VFW Post 3281 in 1971 after I got back from Vietnam because it was the accepted thing to do for me, and because there wasn't nothing like the Student Veterans of America chapter around that might have better served my age group. My post welcomed me into the fold. I won't tell you, however, that it was all roses. You know, it was ran by, bless their hearts, the World War II veterans, and they were very old school. And I was only in my late 20s, so some of the comrades out here understand where I'm going. But like many of you, I paid my dues. I became an active member of my post. I volunteered at bingo, took the cans to recycling, helped with building maintenance projects, delivered Christmas baskets, and visited a VA hospital. It was a struggle sometimes, being active, young, raising a family, working full-time. But many of us younger veterans, we knew that some kind of change was needed in order for the post to grow, and the post did grow. In the 1970s, 350 members. In the 90s, we got over 1,000 members, thanks to a huge influx from the Desert Storm and our Desert Shield veterans that came back. But that was 20 years ago, and this is now. My question is, how does the VFW need to change in order to accommodate the new generation of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, along with post-Vietnam veterans? All agree our great organization and all of our wonderful programs cannot survive without a huge infusion of the post-9/11 veterans, coupled with veterans from Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and many other smaller conflicts around the world. Vietnam veterans are now considered old school. What are we willing to change to meet the new generation's needs? The overall theme of this acceptance speech is what's right about the VFW. But comrades, you know as well as I do that there are some posts out there that are not pulling their weight. Who wouldn't know the difference between a community service report from a parking ticket? Who thinks good publicity might be when the police show up on the weekend? Comrades, if that's your post, or if you're aware of a VFW post is like that, run nothing but a bar, then you either need to clean it up, or you need to go to that post, you need to take the letters VFW off of the wall and take that cross and Malta off the building. It's just that simple. There's way too many hard-working VFW posts out there doing the important work that we do to let one knucklehead post ruin everything that you've accomplished. After 114 years of service and 2 decades of declining membership, we absolutely cannot afford to have the VFW's household name associated with anything other than great service work for others. 7 years ago, we had 8,500 posts. Today, we're down to 7,100. To me, that equates to 1,400 communities who are now less off because there's no VFW service officer there to file their claims or help care for the veterans, to talk to them about patriotism and national service and sacrifice, to organize local Memorial Day, Independence Day, Veterans Day speeches, to volunteer down at the local VA, or to award a Patriot's Pin Voice Democracy Scholarship to a deserving teenager. Comrades, Vietnam veterans have a tight hold on the operation of the organization at every level. If we don't loosen our grip up and give the younger folks free rein, we're going to choke off their participation. And I think we all know where that ship's headed. We need new leaders like Sylvia Sanchez, a Desert Storm veteran who last month became the commander of the Department of Texas, and Renee Simpson, a Bosnian veteran, and a new commander of the Department of Wisconsin, and the thousands of other post-Vietnam veterans who are now in positions of leadership to help put the wind back into our sails. Our job is to help them succeed. We who have knowledge and experience and understanding of our organization, we have a responsibility and we have an obligation to mentor those future leaders of our organization. Our new tagline, no one does more for veterans. It's something we accomplish nationally through our legislative and service officer support, and locally by organizing and participating in thousands of community, military, and veteran outreach events. This includes volunteering, and I don't expect you to remember all these numbers, but they're important. Volunteering more than 11 million hours annually at 1,400 VA facilities, awarding $3 million annually in 7th through 12th grade patriotic scholarship competitions that you support through your Patriot Pen and Voice of Democracy contributions, providing 7.2 million free telephone connections between deployed personnel and their families. And let me just say this. I had a Vietnam veteran last year come up to me and said, they didn't do that for me. Why are we doing that for them? I said, how'd you feel? I didn't like it. I said, well, you just answered your own question. You of all people should know what it feels like. You of all people should support them. We've hosted 2 million military and family at departure and homecoming ceremonies. And through the VFW Unmet Needs program, providing $4.6 million in grants to help 3,300 military families through emergency financial situations. These are just a few of things that the National Office helps to facilitate. But locally is truly what we're all about. Like Ohio VFW Post 3035 and 5803. They raised $40,000 in donations and sent generators to help New York Post 260 in Broad Channel and 5199 in Rockaway Beach that was severely damaged by Hurricane Sandy last October. Like VFW Post 3819 in Reno, Nevada, who donated $35,000 to the VFW Foundation in February to continue all these great troop support programs. Or take VFW Post 308 in Newtown, Connecticut. Their community took a tremendous blow last December, so they raised more than $10,000 for the families and first responders. And they did it again in May to help fellow VFW members and other tornado victims in Moore, Oklahoma. That's my VFW. That's the one I want to belong to. I hope it's the one that you want to belong to. But these are just a few examples of the thousands of similar acts that take place by VFW members in post taking care of others. There's also a few examples about All That's Right, about how a congressionally chartered veteran service organization serves those who faithfully serve our nation. Every returning war veteran inherits a solemn duty to make things better for following generations. And for 114 years, the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States continues to lead the fight to ensure that a nation creates veterans, take care of them when they return home. This is what's right about the VFW, and this is the message that you have to communicate with the potential members. By joining us today, you can help the VFW continue its fight on Capitol Hill and every state legislature. With your help, the VFW can continue our veteran military support programs, so very important to us. And by joining us today, it will ensure that there will be a VFW for generations of new war veterans to come. Right now, less than 1% of the population serves in uniform. Most of us in here, we know that. Only about 8% has ever worn the uniform of our nation. That's why a strong VFW, vibrant VFW, and Ladies Auxiliary is so important to us. Look around the room and ask yourself one question. If not me, if not us, then who? Comrades and sisters, this is our VFW, and everything about our organization is great. Yes, we have challenges, but very few things in life are worse than witnessing war or feeling hopelessness when our warriors return home changed. What the VFW has helped create in the past 114 years is the envy of the world. And that's why this national convention may seem like an international convention. Many times I've been asked why we go overseas. I think most everybody in this room understands, but only the VFW National Convention, where you meet military veterans from Russia, its former Soviet bloc allies, the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, countries we allied with during World War II, but who later became our enemies during Korea, Vietnam, and the Cold War. And if I've been asked once, I've been asked 1,000 times, why are they here? To learn how we take care of our veterans. We got the greatest system in the world. They want to come here and learn. And in return, we want their governments to help us provide more information on the 83,000 missing and accounted for servicemen and women from our nation's wars. That's why we go overseas. We visit these countries, we tell them every year, but showing them is always more important than telling them. Our support to bring our fallen home is unquestionable, as is our support to their families who continue to burn a candle of hope that one day soon their loved one will finally be returned from their wars. If we can help to bring closure to one family of missing, then all of our efforts, all of our energy, all of our money is well spent. If it were your mom or dad, if it were your brother or sister, son or daughter, or just a next door neighbor or somebody you went to school with, wouldn't you want the VFW assisting in efforts to bring them home? I would. I would. What makes the Veterans of Foreign Wars great is the quality of our people who unselfishly dare to make a personal difference in the lives of fellow comrades, communities in this great nation. That caring for others, comrades, is what makes the VFW so great. And I hope you continue to spread the word to everyone. In closing, our organization has had many notables: Generals Bradley, MacArthur, Pershing, Patton, Westmoreland, Admirals Coots, Nimitz, Presidents Kennedy, Truman, Roosevelt, Bush Sr., Ford, Eisenhower, Nixon, and Johnson. Medal of Honor recipients, Audie Murphy, Alvin York, among others. And you know, it was great for our organization to have such distinguished Americans on our rows. But for us that hasn't made such a high and elite profile, please know that you're the engine. You're the engine. You're the engine that makes things, the VFW Auxiliary, what it was in the past, what it is today, and what it's going to be in the future. You are indeed the VFW soldiers. It's your work and it's your dedication, your love for the veterans and their families, active duty defenders and their families, that's important. Now, I don't know if the organization found you or you found the organization, but either way, I'm glad you dedicated your time, your talents to this organization, and I'm proud of each and every one of you in this room. We may not be as young as we once were, or as thin as we once were, or even as healthy as we once were, but by golly, we're as dedicated to take care of our veterans and families as we ever were. God bless each and every one of you. Our organization, the greatest country on the face of this earth, the United States of America. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Hooray!